Welcome to Financial Ratios. Many students, after they're finished their R&D, marketing, and production sheets, will end up here on the finance sheet, and as I'd recommend, it's probably always a good spot to end up to make sure that you're not going to be taking out an emergency loan next year. The easiest spot to see whether or not you're going to be getting that is here on your December 31st next year cash position. If you're positive and your forecasts were on, then you're not going to be getting it. If your forecasts were off, again, that will throw out your financial numbers, which isn't a guarantee. But we're going to assume for right now that yes, we are on our forecast. So next year we're going to be okay. A lot of people would be very tempted right now to hit save and move on. But one of the ways that this simulation is graded is based on financial ratios, leverage, days of working capital, and your current ratio, just to name a few. To find these, you can go up to the pro forma balance sheet for next year, which looks like this. There is also a pro forma ratio sheet, which will give you a quick ballpark figure on where you're going to be on everything. For example, like leverage, right now we're at 1.51. When we were playing on the analyst reports, we needed 1.81 to 2.8. Here the leverage, it's only taken out to a 10th, where the game is rounded, or the game is graded at 100th. So I'd recommend still going to the balance sheet. To calculate it yourself once you're in the ballpark. Another advantage of being here on the balance sheet itself is that you can see where all the numbers are coming from while you're doing your leverage. Is you take your total assets, divide it by your total equity. That's what's giving the 1.5 right now. The advantage here is you can see that yes, the total equity is made up of the common stock and the retained earnings, and you can see what makes up all the line items that make up total assets, and you can change that. If you don't know what anything is, that's okay. Just hold yourself over the red arrow here and see that yes, retained earnings, see what it is. And it'll also give you hints within it as to how you can manipulate these variables. Like here it says the profits, so you know that profits have a bearing on retained earnings as well as dividends. So you can use dividends as a tool to change this. So again, once you get all these numbers figured out, make sure that all your ratios work, not just one. So if you're to get the leverage, the total assets over total equity, to be say around 2, make sure that you didn't take it all out in current borrowing and push this number up to say you took out a $10,000 bond here, which would take out your current ratio, because your current ratio is your total current assets over all total current liabilities, which is accounts payable, current borrowing, and emergency loans if you happen to have any. And that ratio you want to keep above 2. So make sure that you know which each of the ones is doing, and then by following this sheet you'll know better whether or not you should take out short-term debt, which is going to be your cheapest, take out long-term debt, which is going to help you out on a couple of your ratios, for example your current ratio as well as your leverage, working days capital, or whether to buy or sell stock or pay dividends, or when to buy back any bonds for that matter. Your working days capital, your quickest way to do it, days of working capital, is going to be here on the ratio sheet. You can see now that it's 77, which is a good number to be in. The 77 needs to be between, the days of working capital needs to be between about 30 and 90 days. I would recommend creating a little spreadsheet for yourself on how your teacher's grading you. Our teacher was working off the analyst report, so I developed this spreadsheet which had where each of the 1,000 points for every round was coming from, how many points, what I needed to do to get those points, and the formulas for it. We'll go over the sensitivity analysis in another video. But this way you can see where each of the ones come from. You can see that the leverage, where the points come from, how much it's worth. And so you can now start to make informed decisions on how many points you can get in each round. And by filling out this sheet, you'll be able to keep all your points straight in your mind. Thank you.